So you're making some VFX using Wan VACE, which is awesome, but you need inputs. Here's how to create them. If you don't know, Wan VACE is a free AI model that allows you to combine 4 different inputs to adjust or edit video. You can input a control video, a mask video, reference images, and also prompts, which makes it perfect for VFX work.
Step 1. Tracking and cropping clip.
Now you might have shot a close-up and that's what you like, but I've actually shot a wider shot, which means I'm going to crop it in a little bit because I don't want my computer using its precious computing power to then process all these pixels we're not going to use. So here's what to do. First, input your footage and create a fusion clip in DaVinci Resolve and add in a transform node which you can rename. You can zoom it in using the size input and then the direction using the control input. Enable keyframe tracking and then go through your clip and make sure that your head is roughly in the middle of your frame. We can then smooth out those keyframes in the spline editor just by pressing the smooth out or smooth translation mode, I don't even know what to call it. We can then plug that crop into our output and render that as a 1080p sequence. This is our new base clip that we're going to use for the rest of the workflow. Woohoo! Once we've modified our clip with Wan, we're going to import it back into this fusion composition, so let's set that up now. And keep in mind when you export out of Wan, it's probably going to be 720p or lower depending on your GPU specifications. So we want to use a resize node to make sure it matches everything. And then we can duplicate our transform or crop track, as I've named it, node and plug in our new resize node. You'll notice straight away that it's not working, and that's because we haven't inverted our transform. We can do this by going into our transform tracker and pressing invert transform. Now I've just added a color corrector so you can tell that this is the edge and it's perfectly lined up. So don't panic, okay?
Step 2. Creating the first frame.
Now we're going to need a modified reference start frame as well as a bunch of reference images for our Wan model. Is it Wan or is it Wan? Now we can use an AI generator model to modify our footage. Go back into DaVinci Resolve and either in a new timeline in the color tab or in your Fusion project, you can right click, grab still and export that. For my first frame and reference images, I used Nano Banana. I started by inputting my first frame, matching the aspect ratio, adding reference images and a prompt with the help of Claude. But Google's Nano Banana is an API, which means it costs money. So here's a way to not pay money to the big corporations. I'm going to use Gwen for this example. In ComfyUI, input your first frame and reference images, add in your prompt, and press run. Now you might have to fiddle around with this to get a really good result. You might get an image that looks really great, but there's a couple things off. Maybe the head is just a bit too large, or the color tones are just off. So this is what I'd recommend. Open up a free editing software like Affinity, add in your starting frame plus your new AI created frame, position and scale down your head if it's a bit too large, use a mask tool and brushes to paint in around the neck, and then you can use a curves editor to adjust the color values. Look in the dark spots and the highlights. If it's a bit more green or a bit more blue, you can usually change those values so it matches a bit better. You can also add in a bit of blur to help blend it in, as well as a bit of noise.
Step 3. Creating driving videos.
Now we're specifically doing a head replacement, and that's the area we're going to focus on. For me, I wanted to replace everything. My head, my neck, my skin, eyes, you name it. Completely gone and completely replaced. But we do want to keep some head information like the outline and the movement of the head to help Wan as it's trying to calculate where your head is basically. In DaVinci Resolve, create a new timeline and a new fusion clip and import your new cropped base clip. Now, since I shot this on a green screen, I have clear, distinct lines, which I can use a magic mask node to try and do a lot of the work for me when it comes to the body. Add in the node and select the positive points and negative points and click run. Next, we can add in a key light node and quickly key the head. This doesn't have to be perfect, just quite quick. Add in a polygon node and go throughout the timeline and try and make sure it's covering the right areas. And then we can chuck that into our key eye as a garbage mask. Add in another merge node and input your body and your head layers, and now you have a full body roto. Now we can create a base clean plate. Add in a clean plate node and input our new compiled subject. Increase the fill to clean out the background. This is now going to be our new base layer. Now this is the part that gets a bit tricky, so pay close attention. We're going to make the most horrific grey head you've ever seen. Start by subtracting the head from the body. To do this, add in a merge node and then input your head as the base layer and the body as the background layer. We can then change the blending mode to mask or stencil to cut out the body and just have the head. Now we have a beautiful floating head. Well done. Take the floating head and add it into a new merge node as the input. And then above that, add in an erode/dilate node and add your head footage into that as the input as well. You can then erode/decrease the amount in the slider. Then you can add a blur node to blur out your face. And on that blur node, you might want to actually use the head as a mask again to clean up the edges. Now we can add the eroded head into the background of that merge node. Now we have a beautifully horrific face staring back at us, and that's your face. Now we can take that face and add an edge detect node. Decrease the edge width, and then increase the brightness and gamma. Next, add in an alpha divide, a color curves, and an alpha multiply. And in that curve, we can make it a lot more gray by upping the black parts and bringing down the white highlights. Now we can add those layers back together. Start with our custom clean plate, then we can add in the new grayscaled head, and then of course the body on top of that. All that effort for a beautifully creepy, grayed out head that is your own. You should be proud of that.
Step 4. Creating the mask video.
Now for the masks video, we just need a black and white video that shows the model what parts to keep and what parts to get rid of. To do this, we can start by simply adding 2 background nodes, changing one color to black and one color to white, add in a merge node between the two, and for the mask, we can use the head key that we made earlier.
Step 5. Creating text prompts.
Lastly, we want to think about good prompt writing. Channel that writer inside of you right now, or use AI. I've actually been using Claude, an AI chatbot, to help me write these prompts because I'm quite lazy. And this is what I do. I upload my customized start frame and a screenshot of the alpha video that we're going to use. And I ask Claude to write a prompt for Wan 2.1 VACE specifically, detailing what's in the first frame. I ask it to create a positive and negative prompt and remind it that we're trying to subtract the head from the original clip. And this is a bit of a continual cycle. As I use the workflow to export a video, I'll often take a screenshot and re-upload it back into Claude or a chatbot, and then ask it to adjust based on some feedback and adjust the positive and negative prompt. And just like that, you've created some super strong input prompts that you're going to be able to make your dream VFX show with. Well done. And in principle, this can be done for all kinds of effects, right? It doesn't have to be a head, it could be an arm. Maybe you want to just do the eyes, or you want to just replace an object, for example. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and tell me how it went for you. And I just want to remind you, this is one part in a series of videos that explains this whole workflow. So if you haven't seen the other videos, make sure you go watch them and come back or go forward. So stay tuned. And I hope this error has been solved. Because it's the channel name.